1971 wasn't just a good year for rock. It was the year that rewrote the rulebook. From soaring anthems to gritty guitar riffs, these 15 songs didn't just make waves. They sparked a musical revolution. Each track pushed boundaries, told bold stories, and changed what rock would be. Stick around, because by the end, you'll see how these classics didn't just shape the past. They're still shaping the sound of today. Number 15. Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven wasn't just a hit. It set the standard for what a rock epic should be like. The beginning is soft, like a folk song, and then the electric guitar and drums slowly build up into a storm. Many people think that Jimmy Page's guitar solo is one of the best ever recorded, and Robert Plant's vocals made people feel like they were entering another world. Folk, blues, and hard rock are mixed in a way that no one else has before. The song sets a new standard for sound storytelling. Even though it was never released as a single, it ruled the airwaves and became a standard on FM radio. This song stands out because it didn't follow the rules. In a time when singles were short and catchy, Led Zeppelin made a song that was over 8 minutes long, and it worked. It was played not because it was signed to a hit label, but because people asked for it to be played. It was played over and over by DJs, and fans treated it like holy ground. It showed that people were ready for something longer, more complex, and deeper than most radio hits. A surprising insight is that the band never allowed it to be released as a single in 1971. Its success came entirely from radio play and word of mouth, a rare feat for any song at the time. That decision only added to its mystique, turning it into a kind of musical legend. It wasn't a manufactured hit. It was a natural one, which made its rise even more powerful. That level of organic success showed how powerful a song could be without a traditional push. The track also marked a shift in how rock music was viewed. It wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was art. Something people analyzed, debated, and obsessed over. The way the song changes tempo and mood over time makes it feel like a journey instead of just a track. Musicians took notes. They saw what Zeppelin did and started pushing their own boundaries. Rock was no longer just about rebellion, and it was becoming a canvas for something bigger. Number 14. Brown Sugar. The song Brown Sugar hit hard. Just the first riff was enough to pull you into the rough world of the song, and when the lyrics came in, it was pure Rolling Stones swagger. The song was the first one on their album Sticky Fingers. It had a rough southern rock sound that set the mood. Fans knew what to expect. It was fast, dirty, and loud. But it was even worse. Mick Jagger's sexy lyrics went well with Keith Richards' guitar playing, making a storm of energy and attitude. The track was written in just 45 minutes by Jagger during a filming break in Australia. That kind of spontaneity doesn't usually result in greatness, but here, it absolutely did. The rawness and immediacy of the song mirrored its quick creation. What made it stick was how it pushed every boundary it could. Sex, race, and power, all wrapped in a rock and roll package. It became an instant classic, but also sparked serious conversations. Its lyrics stirred controversy from day one. The song tackled themes that were uncomfortable, even by rock standards, touching on race, slavery, and desire, in ways that drew both praise and criticism. Many stations edited or banned it, yet it still climbed the charts. That tension between popularity and controversy gave it lasting power. People couldn't stop talking about it, and that's exactly what the Stones wanted. The instrumentation also elevated the track beyond standard rock fare. The saxophone solo, for instance, gave it a bluesy layer that made it stand out in a crowded genre. The blend of rock and Southern blues was bold, and it influenced countless artists who came after. This wasn't just another hit, it was a statement. It told the world that the Stones weren't afraid of uncomfortable truths. More than 50 years later, Brown Sugar is still debated, played, and remembered. It reflects the chaos and rebellion of the time, but also shows how far rock music was willing to go. Whether you see it as a bold artistic move or a cultural misstep, its impact is undeniable. It's one of those rare songs that forces you to react. And that's exactly why it still matters. These tracks didn't just define rock, they reshaped sound itself, fusing glam, politics, and pain into something the world couldn't ignore. Number 13. Baba O'Reilly. Baba O'Reilly opens with one of rock's most unforgettable intros, a looping synth pattern that sounds like the future. Pete Townshend used a sequencer inspired by minimalist composer Terry Riley and spiritual teacher Meher Baba, blending technology with personal influence. Originally meant for the rock opera Lifehouse, the song was too big to be boxed into a concept album. It evolved into a standalone anthem for disillusioned youth, earning its nickname Teenage Wasteland from its famous lyric. That nickname wasn't the title, but it captured exactly how a generation felt. This wasn't just another rock song, it was one of the first to merge electronic and rock music seamlessly. That bold experiment laid the groundwork for future artists to explore synthesizers in mainstream music. The song's structure also broke from typical radio formats, with long instrumental passages and no traditional chorus. It was rock expanding in real time, reaching towards something more modern and less predictable. It made rebellion sound refined, yet raw. The lyrics talk about aimless youth, but they're also philosophical. "Don't cry, don't raise your eye, it's only teenage wasteland," says a lot with very few words. Townshend was addressing social confusion and personal freedom, without sounding preachy. That message hit hard in a time when many teens felt caught between a fading 60s idealism and a rougher, more uncertain 70s. The track gave those feelings a sound. Townshend never intended it as a celebration of wasted youth, but as a warning. He was criticizing the chaos he saw around him. Kids drifting without purpose, society losing direction. Ironically, that made it even more relatable. It resonated with anyone who felt lost or disconnected. That accidental anthem quality is why it's still played today at sports arenas, festivals, and in films. Number 12. Life on Mars. Life on Mars is one of David Bowie's most ambitious songs, and that's saying something. It sounds like a symphony beamed in from another planet, blending glam rock, cabaret, and classical influences. The orchestration is dramatic, the melodies are sweeping, and the lyrics are a puzzle box of surreal images. It's Bowie at his most theatrical and visionary. The track doesn't just ask questions about life, it turns the whole idea into performance art. Bowie once described the song as a parody of My Way, the Frank Sinatra hit. After a failed attempt to write English lyrics for the French original that became My Way, Bowie turned his frustration into this dazzling creation. That backstory adds a twist of irony. A song often seen as deep and tragic was born out of industry rejection. But Bowie flipped it into a triumph. The result is one of his most iconic and emotionally powerful recordings. The song's real magic lies in its contradictions. It feels sad and huge, like the world is ending and beginning at the same time. The lyrics throw in TV dramas, Mickey Mouse, and lawmen beating up the wrong guy, but somehow it all makes sense in Bowie's world. It captures the disillusionment of a young girl watching a broken world and wondering where she belongs. That blend of confusion and beauty struck a chord with anyone feeling overwhelmed by modern life. Musically, the track is just as layered. Pianist Rick Wakeman's performance is stunning, giving the song a rich, classical feel. The string arrangements add weight without drowning the emotion. Bowie's voice, especially on the final high note, gives the whole thing a sense of urgency and heartbreak. It doesn't follow pop rules. It follows its own vision. That fearlessness made it unforgettable. Life on Mars continues to influence artists across genres, from indie rock to classical covers. It proved that pop music could be strange, abstract, and deeply personal all at once. Bowie wasn't just ahead of his time, he created his own timeline. The song's mystery keeps it alive, and that's what makes it one of the most unique tracks of 1971. Number 11. Imagine. Imagine is more than a song. It's a global symbol. With just a piano and Lennon's voice, it delivers one of the clearest messages in rock history. Peace, unity, and a world without barriers. It's stripped down, but powerful. The simplicity of the lyrics is what gives them weight. No politics, no fancy words, just a vision of a better world. The song's inspiration came from Yoko Ono's poetry, specifically her 1964 book, Grapefruit. While she wasn't officially credited for years, Lennon later admitted the lyrics were born from her ideas. That adds a deeper layer to the song's message: collaboration, equality, and shared vision. Knowing this makes the song more than just Lennon's solo work. It was a true partnership, and that backstory often goes unnoticed. Imagine was a bold statement at the time. Asking people to picture a world without countries or religion wasn't exactly easy listening in 1971. But Lennon believed that music could shift minds and start conversations. He didn't scream it. He sang it softly, like a lullaby. That quiet approach gave the song its lasting strength. Over the decades, Imagine has been used in tributes, protests, and memorials. From John's own memorial in 1980 to events like the Olympics or moments of crisis, it resurfaces when people need hope. That kind of longevity is rare. It's not tied to a trend. It's tied to a feeling. And that feeling is universal. Number 10. Children of the Grave. Children of the Grave wasn't just loud, it was a warning siren. Released on the Master of Reality album, it delivered one of the earliest blends of doom metal and protest music. Ozzy Osbourne's haunting vocals rode over Tony Iommi's relentless riffs, creating a mood of dread mixed with urgency. The song tackled nuclear war, social unrest, and the responsibility of youth, making it more than just aggressive. It was conscious. What made it even more groundbreaking was its galloping rhythm, a technique that would later shape thrash metal bands like Metallica and Slayer. Sabbath wasn't only building heavy metal, they were injecting it with political thought. The contrast of raw sound and deep messages made it stand out in 1971's rock landscape. While many bands sang about freedom or love, Sabbath dared to sound the alarm. This song is a defining moment where heavy music met heavy meaning. It also broke structural rules. There's no real chorus, just a rolling wave of riffs and chants. That unpredictability added to its tension and power. In live shows, this track often became a fan favorite for its pounding energy and crowd participation. It solidified Sabbath as pioneers, not just for their sound, but for giving metal a mission. Black Sabbath's approach on this track helped forge the serious side of heavy rock. They showed that music could scare you and make you think at the same time. Children of the Grave was a prophecy in guitar form. It didn't just push musical limits, it reshaped what the genre could say. And decades later, its message still hits just as hard. Number 9. Black Dog. Black Dog opens with confusion. The rhythm is twisted, the timing complex, and the riff seems to pull in and out of sync. But that was the point. Led Zeppelin made a song that forced listeners to pay attention. It was bold, raw, and structured like a puzzle. Inspired by blues and powered by rock, Black Dog set a new bar for rhythmic experimentation. The song's signature call and response between Robert Plant's vocals and Jimmy Page's guitar made it instantly unique. Instead of following the typical verse-chorus setup, it looped into its own wild structure. Musicians still study it today because it broke all the radio-friendly rules of the time. And yet, it became one of Zeppelin's biggest tracks. The title is famously unrelated to the lyrics. It came from a black Labrador that roamed around the studio while they were recording. That randomness mirrors the song's unpredictability. It's a track that doesn't explain itself. It dares you to keep up. And that boldness was a key reason it stuck in listeners' minds. Black Dog also showed Zeppelin at their technical best. The layering, syncopation, and Page's riffs all revealed a band flexing their full creative muscles. Even when the words got steamy, the music stayed sharp. It proved that complex ideas could still rock hard without losing energy. What's most impressive is how Black Dog balanced chaos and control. It was edgy but clean, strange but catchy. That balance turned it into a lasting influence on progressive rock, grunge, and even modern hard rock. In a year packed with heavy hitters, this song growled louder than most. Number 8. Won't Get Fooled Again. This wasn't just another Who track. It was a revolution wrapped in rebellion. Won't Get Fooled Again closes Who's Next with a thunderous message. Change doesn't always mean progress. It's a song that starts slow, builds with layers of tension, and then explodes with one of the most iconic screams in rock history. Roger Daltrey didn't just sing that scream, he let it erupt. It felt like the whole generation's frustration in one breath. Musically, it mixed hard rock with a futuristic twist. Pete Townshend's use of the Moog synthesizer added a new sci-fi-like texture to a classic rock setup. That fusion made the track sound like it came from another decade altogether. Even today, it still sounds fresh. It challenged what a rock anthem could be, both angry and electronic, both human and mechanical. The song was originally part of a shelved rock opera called Lifehouse, which told the story of a society ruled by tech. That dystopian idea lingers in the final lyrics. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It's a resignation, not a celebration. A subtle warning that even revolutions might loop back into the same traps. That message gave the track depth beyond its massive sound. Won't Get Fooled Again is still played at rallies, protests, and stadiums, not just for its power, but for its truth. It's not just about rebellion, it's about learning from it. That's why it resonates across generations. People connect to the frustration, the disappointment, and the resolve to stay alert. What makes this song timeless is its honesty. It didn't promise change, it questioned it. That rare perspective, especially in a year full of idealism, gave it a sharp edge. And musically, The Who managed to future-proof their sound. This song wasn't just made for 1971, it was made for every time history tried to repeat itself. Number 7. Riders on the Storm. Riders on the Storm is a moody blend of jazz, psychedelic rock, and noir. The electric piano floats like rain, and the storm's sounds create a ghostly space. Jim Morrison's whispered backing vocals, layered behind his lead, add a chilling, almost spiritual quality. The song feels like a dream and a warning at the same time. Its relaxed tempo hides a darker meaning, inspired partly by a real-life serial killer. The Doors recorded storm effects in studio using basic tools: sheet metal for thunder and a water bottle for rain. That low-tech method gave the song a haunting realism. Ray Manzarek's jazzy keyboard runs add a soft glide beneath the tension, making it one of the most musically textured tracks of 1971. The band never rushed the groove, and they let it simmer, pulling the listener deeper into the atmosphere. It's a slow ride, but every sound has a purpose. Lyrically, the song blends Western imagery with existential dread. Morrison, who died shortly after its release, called it one of his most personal works. There's a strange calm in the chaos, like watching the end of something while being part of it. That eerie calmness is what makes it timeless. It's not just a song, it's a weather system of emotion. Riders on the Storm was also one of the last songs the Doors recorded as a full group. It marked the end of an era, while sounding like a warning for the future. The track remains one of the most atmospheric rock songs ever made. Its blend of poetry, tension, and rhythm still stands unmatched. No other track from 1971 captured eeriness this beautifully. Number 6. Bang a Gong, Get It On. Bang a Gong, Get It On brought glam rock swagger to the mainstream. The track opens with a heavy Chuck Berry-style riff, then explodes into a full-on glitter groove. It's not complicated, it's confident. Mark Bolan wasn't trying to make a statement, he was just having fun. The result was a loose, danceable rock song with a sharp edge. Despite being a glam rock icon, Bolan disliked the label. He insisted his sound was rooted in early rock and roll, just turned up with style. That mix of retro and modern gave T-Rex a sound that felt both familiar and brand new. The layered production, background vocals, and bold guitar tones created something playful yet strong. It wasn't just glam, it was rock with a smirk. Producer Tony Visconti added subtle touches that helped the song pop without overcrowding it. The backup singers gave it a touch of soul, and the rhythm section stayed tight without overplaying. Bolan's vocals slink across the track with a confident looseness. You could feel the rhythm without needing a giant chorus or deep lyrics. It was catchy, but it didn't chase trends. It made its own. Bang a Gong became T-Rex's biggest US hit and helped define the early 70s glam sound. But underneath the glitter was solid songwriting and a real connection to rock's past. The guitar tone alone is instantly recognizable. The song proved that fun could be cool, and cool didn't need to be serious. T-Rex didn't invent glam, but this track helped make it global. 50 years later, the sound still echoes. Here's why these 1971 songs refuse to fade from our lives. Number 5. Roundabout. Roundabout is progressive rock at full power. The song opens with an acoustic guitar riff that quickly turns into a fast-paced, layered arrangement. Yes, created a track that moves through time, changes, bass grooves, and a wide vocal range. The song introduced many listeners to complex rock without alienating them. It showed that technical skill and accessible sound could exist in the same track. The main riff came from a drive through the Scottish Highlands. Steve Howe and John Anderson wrote the lyrics while staring at roundabouts on their road trip. That literal view turned into a surreal lyrical journey. The song's production layered classical guitar, Hammond organ, and Chris Squire's signature bass. It became a template for how far rock could be stretched and still stay catchy. Roundabout didn't just succeed with fans of prog rock, it crossed into pop and FM radio without dumbing itself down. That balance gave Yes mainstream reach while staying loyal to their sound. For many, this was their first brush with musical complexity. It made prog rock a movement instead of just a niche. It also influenced how albums were structured. The song's multi-section approach inspired other bands to build epic-length tracks with repeating motifs. Roundabout became the gateway to Yes's deeper catalog. It proved that 8-minute songs could hold attention if every section felt earned. More than just a hit, it became a textbook example of what progressive rock could be. Number 4. What is Life? George Harrison stepped into the solo spotlight with What is Life, and it sounded nothing like the Beatles. Driven by a fuzzy guitar riff and soulful rhythm section, it blended spirituality with pop hooks. It had the joy of Motown, the grit of rock, and Harrison's philosophical streak. That mix gave it wide appeal, from radio hits to personal reflection. It was one of his most upbeat tracks. Surprisingly, the song wasn't written for him. Harrison originally intended it for Billy Preston, the keyboardist who had played with the Beatles. But when Preston didn't record it, Harrison kept it for All Things Must Pass. That twist makes the song's energy feel more generous. It was a gift that turned into a personal triumph. It was Harrison discovering his voice outside Lennon and McCartney. The production was handled by Phil Spector, known for his wall of sound. It gave What is Life a dense, full-bodied feel, with horns, backing vocals, and big drum sounds. Yet it never felt crowded. Harrison's guitar and vocals still cut through. That blend of power and clarity gave it lasting power. What is Life became a defining song of the early 70s. It made clear that Harrison wasn't just a quiet Beatle. He was a songwriter with his own spiritual and musical direction. The song helped him break away from the shadow of the band. It marked the start of his post-Beatles identity. Number 3. ImEighteen. ImEighteen took teen confusion and turned it into a rock anthem. It's not polished or clean, it's raw and restless. The riff is simple but heavy, matched by Alice Cooper's sneering vocal style. It captured a specific mood, not a celebration of youth, but the discomfort of it. That honest take connected with kids who felt lost after the idealism of the 60s faded. The song was a breakthrough for Alice Cooper and shock rock as a genre. Before this, theatrical rock was a niche. ImEighteen brought it into the mainstream. The band's dark stage shows started making headlines, but the music held up without the visuals. This song made them more than just a gimmick. It became a generational anthem almost by accident. Written as a reflection of Cooper's own feelings, it tapped into a bigger shift. Youth culture in 1971 was shifting from peace signs to power chords. This song gave them a voice, and it stood out from the polished pop and folk of the time. The track also opened doors for harder, darker bands that followed. Groups like Kiss and Marilyn Manson drew from Alice Cooper's blend of rock and stagecraft. ImEighteen showed that an identity crisis could be loud, messy, and theatrical. It gave a sound to feelings most didn't know how to explain. It was more than a song, it was a statement. ImEighteen helped define a new edge for rock music. It wasn't about perfection, it was about truth. The guitars were dirty, the voice was cracked, and the emotion was real. It gave rock a darker, more honest tone moving into the 70s. It told kids they weren't alone in feeling lost, and that made it timeless. These two songs crept in quietly, but left with the loudest impact on love, memory, and timeless emotion. Number 2. Maggie May. Maggie May didn't sound like a typical hit, but it became one of Rod Stewart's most iconic songs. Blending folk, rock, and autobiography, it captured the confusion and rebellion of youth. The raw emotion in Stewart's voice matched the bittersweet lyrics about a one-sided romance with an older woman. Its structure was unusual. It didn't have a strong chorus, yet that only made it feel more authentic. This made it a standout in 1971 and helped cement Stewart's solo career. The mandolin outro became instantly recognizable, but the player, Ray Jackson of Lindisfarne, wasn't even credited on the album. He was brought in at the last minute and played one of the most memorable parts of the track. That overlooked detail adds to the song's underdog charm. It's proof that sometimes the biggest impact comes from the quietest corners of a recording session. Even Stewart admitted years later that Jackson deserved more credit. Maggie May also changed how the music industry viewed B-sides. Originally released as the B-side to Reason to Believe, radio DJs flipped the record and gave Maggie May more play. Listeners connected instantly, and the song climbed the charts. It showed that public taste could overpower label expectations. That shift opened the door for other non-traditional hits to find their audience. The song's emotional depth also spoke to a larger generational feeling. Young people in the early 70s were grappling with identity, freedom, and regret. Stewart gave that confusion a voice. He didn't offer answers, just honesty. And that's why it lasted far beyond its moment. Maggie May also paved the way for more autobiographical storytelling in rock. Instead of sticking to vague love themes, it gave real-life pain a melody. That grounded style influenced singer-songwriters across the decade. It helped blur the line between rock star and everyday person. And it showed that vulnerability could sell just as well as swagger. Number 1. Wild Horses. Unlike their usual sound, Wild Horses was quiet, aching, and stripped down. It revealed a softer, more thoughtful side of the Stones. Built around acoustic guitars and slow pacing, it stood out as one of their most emotional songs. The lyrics focused on love and loss, but avoided anything cheesy. It felt like a personal confession, not a performance. Graham Parsons had a major influence on the track's sound. He was close friends with Keith Richards and pushed the band toward a country rock style. You can hear Parsons's fingerprints in the tone and mood of Wild Horses. He even recorded his own version with the Flying Burrito Brothers before the Stones released theirs. This crossover between country and rock was rare at the time, but would later shape entire genres. The lyrics are widely believed to be about Marianne Faithfull, Mick Jagger's partner at the time. She had suffered a harmful substance overdose shortly before the song was written. That real-life pain seeped into the words. But the genius of Wild Horses is its universal feel. It wasn't just about one relationship, it captured the slow ache of parting. Musically, the song showed how less could be more. There was no flash or noise, just simple guitar work, gentle drums, and restrained vocals. That soft touch gave the track power. It lets the emotion shine through without drowning it in production. Wild Horses also marked a shift in the Stones' image. They weren't just the bad boys of rock anymore. They had depth, range, and soul. This track proved they could evolve, and that evolution kept them relevant for decades. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click on the next video popping up on your screen for more amazing content.